Welcome to the Power Book of Podcasts. Unlock your potential with powerful book summaries that inspire personal growth and broaden your understanding of the world. Each week, we explore life-changing ideas, from leadership to mindset strategies to keys for happiness and success. Learn actionable insights to apply in your daily life. Join our growing community of thinkers and seekers. Like, comment, and hit that subscribe button now. It's time to supercharge your mind with the Power Book of Podcasts.
All right, so today we're going to deep dive into the 50th Law.
Yeah.
You shared this book with me. It's by Cent and Robert Greene.
Right.
And honestly, I got to say, I was a little skeptical at first.
Okay.
Like a rapper and a historian teaming up to write a self-help book.
Yeah.
Seemed like an odd combination, but I'm already like 3 chapters in, and honestly, I'm fascinated.
That's great.
What about you?
Well, you know me, I'm always interested in these kind of like unconventional approaches to success.
Yeah.
And what I find so intriguing about the 50th Law is that it really pushes us to think beyond those kind of like typical feel-good self-help tropes.
Yeah.
You know, it delves into some uncomfortable truths about power and ambition.
Right.
And the role of fearlessness in achieving like real tangible success.
Yeah. You know what? I think one of the things that I'm enjoying the most about the book so far is the way that it reframes fear.
Okay.
It doesn't just say, you know, like, oh, get rid of fear,
right,
eliminate it or whatever.
Yeah.
It actually encourages us to see it as like a source of energy, you know, like a catalyst for growth.
I think that's such a crucial point.
Yeah.
And it's something that I think a lot of, you know, those typical self-help books kind of miss.
Yeah, they try to present this like,
right,
this like blissful state of fearlessness, you know? And this book is like, no fear is actually...
It's a tool.
It can be an asset.
Exactly.
I mean, how does that idea actually play out, though?
Well, I think, you know, the book really argues that fearlessness isn't the absence of fear. It's the ability to act in spite of it.
I see.
You know, it's about harnessing that fear.
Okay.
Like channeling it into action, into those calculated risks.
Yeah.
You know, the bold moves that actually propel us forward.
So it's not about pretending that we're not afraid.
No.
It's about like using that fear as fuel.
Right.
Okay. I like that. I'm curious though, like how does this play out in the lives of the people that are featured in the book?
Well, you know, 50 Cent himself, I think, is a perfect example.
Yeah.
You know, his background, growing up in a really rough environment, surrounded by violence and poverty.
Right.
You know, he had to develop a certain level of fearlessness just to survive.
Yeah.
He couldn't afford to be paralyzed by fear.
Right.
You know, he had to learn to navigate those streets, assess the risks, make calculated moves. And ultimately, that led him to success.
That's so interesting because it's like in those high-stakes situations,
right,
you're forced to confront your fears. You know?
They have to.
There's no room for like denial or avoidance. You either adapt or you succumb to the pressure.
And I think that's what's so powerful about his story.
Yeah.
He took those same street smarts, that same ability to see reality and act decisively and applied it to his music career.
Interesting.
He wasn't afraid to challenge the norms, disrupt the industry, make bold moves.
So the first takeaway here is fearlessness is not about being fearless. It's about harnessing that fear, channeling it into action.
I love that.
And the book seems to suggest that this is like a learned skill. But what are some of those strategies that we can learn from these people?
Well, one of the first things the book emphasizes is what it calls seeing reality for what it is.
Okay, seeing reality for what it is.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of vague. Can you break that down for me a little bit?
Sure. It's about being brutally honest with yourself about your situation.
Okay.
Your strengths and weaknesses, the opportunities and threats that you face.
Okay.
You know, it's about facing those uncomfortable truths.
Right.
Even if they trigger fear or doubt.
Okay. Yeah.
Because only then can you make those clear-headed decisions and take effective action.
So it's about like stripping away the illusions, the wishful thinking, and really getting down to like what's actually happening.
Exactly.
Okay, but how does that relate to fearlessness?
Well, the book argues that when you avoid reality, when you cling to those illusions, you're essentially giving fear more power.
Okay.
You're letting it fester in the shadows, distorting your perception, and ultimately paralyzing you.
Okay.
But when you face reality head on, when you acknowledge the challenges and the risks, you strip fear of its power.
I see.
You take back control.
Right.
You empower yourself.
So it's like when you shine a light on your fears, they shrink.
Exactly.
They lose their grip on you.
Yeah.
So seeing reality, that's step one.
Okay.
What comes next?
Well, that takes us to becoming self-reliant.
Okay. Self-reliance.
Yes.
That's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days.
It does.
But I'm curious to hear how the 50th law approaches this concept.
Well, the book argues that self-reliance isn't about isolation or rejecting help from others.
Right.
It's about cultivating that deep inner strength, a sense of agency, a belief in your ability to navigate those challenges, create opportunities.
Okay.
It's about knowing that you have the resources, the skills, the resilience to stand on your own 2 feet.
Even when the world feels crazy.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not about becoming a lone wolf.
No.
It's about developing that inner fortitude.
Exactly.
You know, that inner knowing that you can handle whatever life throws at you.
Yes.
But in a world that's so interconnected,
right,
where collaboration is so crucial,
right.
How do we balance self-reliance with the need to rely on others?
You know, that's a great question.
Yeah.
And the book really addresses that nuance beautifully.
Okay.
It's about recognizing that true strength comes from within.
Yeah.
You know, you cultivate that inner core of self-belief, that inner compass that guides you.
Right.
So that when you do collaborate with others, you're doing it from a place of strength.
Not from a place of need.
Exactly.
I love that. So we've got seeing reality, clearly becoming self-reliant. These are 2 really powerful strategies for cultivating that fearlessness.
Yeah.
But I'm sensing there's more to this story.
There is.
You know, like, how do we take this inner strength and apply it to the world?
That's a great question.
You know, how do we make our mark? How do we achieve that 50th law level of success?
And that's exactly where we're headed next.
Okay.
We'll be exploring how the book encourages us to embrace our individuality.
All right.
Turn those challenges into opportunities.
Yeah.
And develop a mindset that allows us to thrive in the face of adversity.
Okay, I'm hooked. I cannot wait to see what other gems we uncover in the 50th law.
We'll get there.
All right, stay tuned. All right, so we're back, and we're still deep in the 50th law.
Yeah, we're getting into the good stuff now.
Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. We talked about, you know, confronting reality and becoming self-reliant. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there's got to be more to it.
Oh, there is.
So where do we go from here? Like, how do we actually make our mark on the world?
Well, the book really encourages us to embrace our individuality.
Okay.
You know, to really make our enterprise a reflection of our unique personality and values.
Now, that's something I can get behind.
Right.
Because, you know, a lot of the self-help advice out there is like, you got to conform.
Oh, yeah.
You got to fit in.
Fit into the mold.
And this book is saying like, no.
It's the opposite.
Like, embrace what makes you different.
That's where the real power is.
So it's not about blending in. It's about like owning what makes you unique.
Exactly.
You know, letting your freak flags fly.
Let it fly.
I like that.
Yeah. But the book does acknowledge that there are certain, you know, rules and conventions that we have to navigate.
Right. We live in the real world.
Yeah.
We can't just like completely ignore the rules.
Right. But it's about finding that balance between effectiveness and authenticity.
Okay.
You know, playing the game, but also finding ways to bend the rules to your advantage.
So it's like working within the system, but also like disrupting it a little bit.
Yeah, shaking things up a bit.
Yeah, I like that. But I'm curious, are there any like specific examples in the book?
Of course, there are tons.
That really illustrate this idea of like making your enterprise a reflection of your individuality.
Were you Miles Davis?
Okay.
I think is a perfect example.
Okay.
Musical genius.
All right.
Constantly reinvented himself, defied genres and expectations, pushed the boundaries of what jazz could be.
Miles Davis, that's a great example. He was not afraid to be different.
Not at all.
But what about someone like John F. Kennedy?
Okay.
He's featured in the book too.
Right.
But he was a politician. You know, he was operating in a world of tradition and convention.
A lot of rules.
Yeah. So how did he express his individuality in that context?
Well, the book highlights how Kennedy brought like a fresh, youthful energy to the political scene.
Right.
He broke the mold of traditional campaigning.
Yeah.
You know, connected with voters on a more personal level and really projected this image of confidence and optimism.
So even in a seemingly rigid environment, like politics, there's still room for individuality.
There's always room.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all ties together. We've got seeing reality clearly,
Right.
becoming self-reliant,
Uh-huh.
and now embracing individuality.
Yes.
But there's one piece of this fearlessness puzzle that we haven't touched on yet.
What's that?
This whole idea of turning shit into sugar.
Yes, the classic 50-cent line.
Yeah.
But it really captures the essence of this strategy,
Great.
which is all about opportunism.
Okay.
Turning those setbacks into advantages.
Right.
Finding the hidden opportunity.
When life gives you lemons.
Make lemonade.
Exactly. But I'm wondering, like, how do we cultivate that mindset? Yeah. You know, it's easy to say turn shit into sugar.
Right.
But in the moment when you're facing a challenge, it's not always easy to see the opportunity.
You're right. It's a skill
that
needs to be developed.
So how do we develop that skill?
Well, the book highlights several historical figures who really exemplify this ability.
Yeah.
You know, George Washington, during the darkest moment of the Revolutionary War, made a daring attack on Trenton.
Oh, okay.
It went against conventional military strategy.
Right.
But it turned the tide of the war.
So even George Washington was a turn shit into sugar kind of guy.
He was a master of it.
That's pretty inspiring. But I gotta ask, wasn't that a really risky move?
It's a huge risk.
What if it had gone wrong?
It could have been disastrous.
Doesn't this strategy require like a certain level of fearlessness to pull off?
Absolutely. It takes courage.
Okay.
Calculated risk-taking.
Right.
Willingness to step outside of your comfort zone.
But the book is saying that's where the magic happens.
That's where the breakthroughs happen.
Okay, I'm starting to see a pattern here.
Yeah.
It seems like all of these strategies, seeing reality clearly, becoming self-reliant, embracing individuality, turning shit into sugar.
They're all interconnected.
They're all part of the same equation.
Yeah, they're all like contributing to this overall goal of cultivating fearlessness.
And achieving success.
But how do we like create that momentum?
Okay.
That flow, you know, that unstoppable force that propels us forward.
That's where calculated momentum comes in.
Calculated momentum.
Yeah. What is that?
It's about harnessing those individual strategies that we've talked about.
Okay.
But adding in this element of flow.
Okay.
Riding the wave.
Okay.
Capitalizing on opportunities as they arise.
I like that, but the book breaks it down even further.
It does.
Into 4 types of flow.
Yes. Mental, emotional, cultural, and social.
4 types of flow. Okay. I'm already intrigued. Tell me more. Let's start with mental flow.
Okay, mental flow is that state of mind where ideas are just flowing effortlessly.
Okay.
You're making connections. You're constantly learning.
Okay.
Expanding your mental landscape.
Okay, so the book uses Leonardo da Vinci as an example.
Leonardo da Vinci, the ultimate Renaissance man.
Okay, so many talents, so much creativity.
Right.
How did he achieve that level of mental flow? Was it just natural talent?
The book suggests that Da Vinci's approach to knowledge was key.
Okay.
He didn't limit himself to one discipline.
Right.
You know, he flowed from painting to design to architecture to engineering.
It's like he was constantly seeking connections.
Constantly exploring, expanding his mental horizons.
And I think in today's world, we're often encouraged to specialize, you know?
Yeah. Pick one thing and stick with it.
Yeah, it's easy to lose sight of that interconnectedness.
Absolutely.
Okay, so mental flow is all about expanding our intellectual horizons.
Yes, embracing that interconnectedness of knowledge.
But what about emotional flow?
Okay, emotional flow is about flexibility.
Okay.
Adaptability. Not getting too attached to our plans or our ideas.
Right.
Being willing to adjust course as needed.
So being able to go with the flow.
Exactly. Roll with the punches.
Okay.
And the book highlights a great example here. The film director, Federico Fellini.
Okay.
Who is known for his collaborative process.
Okay.
His willingness to improvise.
Yeah.
To embrace the contributions of his actors and crew.
So it's like trusting the process.
Trusting the process.
Yeah, okay.
Being open to those spontaneous moments of inspiration.
Right.
Letting go of control a little bit.
Okay, so it's got mental flow. Emotional flow.
Yes.
But what about the external world? You know?
Right.
How do we navigate the ever-changing landscape of culture and society?
That's where cultural flow comes in.
Cultural flow.
Yes.
What is that?
It's about staying ahead of the curve.
Okay.
Sensing those shifts in trends and values and adapting accordingly.
So kind of like being a trendsetter.
A cultural innovator.
Okay.
Someone who can anticipate those changes and ride the wave.
And the book uses Miles Davis as an example again.
Miles Davis.
Yeah.
Highlighting how he constantly reinvented his musical style.
He was never afraid to evolve. Okay, so we've got mental flow, emotional flow, cultural flow. What about social flow?
Social flow is all about connection.
Okay.
empathy, building relationships, understanding different perspectives.
So it's about like building bridges.
Building bridges.
Okay, breaking down barriers. Yeah. Expanding our social and emotional horizons.
Exactly. And the book shares this fascinating story of Jane Goodall.
Oh, Jane Goodall.
Who completely immersed herself in the world of chimpanzees.
Right.
Patiently gaining their trust, observing their behavior.
And ultimately challenging conventional wisdom.
Absolutely.
That's a really cool example of social flow.
It is.
And it highlights the power of stepping outside of our comfort zones.
Absolutely.
Being open to new experiences.
And truly connecting with others on a deeper level.
Okay, so we've got mental flow, emotional flow, cultural flow.
Yes.
Social flows. These are 4 really powerful forces.
They are.
But the big question is, how do we actually cultivate these types of flow in our own lives?
That's the challenge, isn't it?
It seems like a lot to juggle.
It is, and it requires conscious effort.
Okay.
A willingness to step outside of our comfort zones, be open to new experiences.
Right.
And the book also emphasizes knowing when to be bad.
Whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
We're talking about fearlessness, not like breaking the law.
Right.
What does being bad mean in this context?
It's about strategic aggression. Knowing when to assert yourself, when to push boundaries, when to challenge the status quo.
So it's like that controlled aggression that 50 Cent embodies.
Exactly.
He's not afraid to ruffle some feathers.
He's not.
And the book shares a great example from 50 Cent's early days as a hustler.
Right.
He realized that the existing power structure in his neighborhood was limiting his opportunities. So he made a bold move.
He disrupted the status quo.
I love that.
Created space for himself to rise to the top.
Sometimes you got to play the game a little differently.
You do.
But it's a delicate balance.
It is.
How do we know when to push and when to hold back?
That's where discernment comes in.
Okay.
And the book emphasizes that this badness is not about being malicious or unethical.
Right.
It's about being strategic, assertive, and not letting fear dictate your actions.
So it's like that balance between being bold, but also being calculated.
Exactly.
You're not just like blindly lashing out.
No.
You're making strategic moves.
Strategic moves.
To advance your position.
Create opportunities.
Makes things happen.
Make it happen.
But it seems like all of this requires a lot of confidence.
It does.
A lot of self-belief.
A lot of self-belief.
Where does that come from?
That's a great question.
How do we cultivate that inner strength?
And that's something we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll be exploring the power of belief, the importance of respecting the process, and even the surprising connection between confronting mortality and living a truly fearless life.
Okay, I'm on the edge of my seat. This deep dive is getting really deep.
It is. We're getting there.
I can't wait to explore those final layers of the 50th law. Stay tuned because things are about to get even more interesting. Okay, so we're back for the final part of our deep dive into the 50th law.
We made it.
We've covered a lot of ground so far.
We have.
We've talked about embracing individuality, turning challenges into opportunities.
Right.
But now I'm really curious to hear more about this idea of calculated momentum.
Okay.
And those 4 types of flow. Like, how do we actually cultivate that momentum, that unstoppable force that propels us towards our goals?
Well, it's a process.
Okay.
And it starts with a shift in mindset.
Right.
The book encourages us to embrace what it calls respecting the process.
Respecting the process.
Yeah.
That sounds like a call for patience.
It is.
Discipline, like putting in the work.
Putting in the work.
Am I on the right track?
You're exactly on the right track.
Okay.
It's about recognizing the true success. Lasting success.
Okay.
Doesn't happen overnight. It's about embracing the journey.
Okay.
The long game.
The slow burn.
The slow burn of mastery.
Yeah, we live in a world
right.
of instant everything,
Instant gratification.
Social media likes overnight success stories.
Yeah, everyone wants everything now.
Yeah, it's so easy to fall into that trap.
It is.
Of wanting it all and wanting it fast.
And the book argues that mindset can actually be a major obstacle to achieving true success.
So how do we shift gears?
Well, it starts with understanding that mastery takes time, effort, and a willingness to embrace the sometimes tedious, repetitive aspects of learning.
So it's like enjoying the climb.
Enjoying the climb.
Not just the view from the top of the mountain.
Exactly.
But how do we stay motivated?
Well, the book reminds us
of
Isaac Newton's groundbreaking discoveries during the plague.
Okay.
He was forced into isolation for months.
Right.
But instead of succumbing to fear or boredom,
he used that time to delve deeper into his studies, making incredible breakthroughs in math, optics, mechanics.
So even during a plague, Newton was all about respecting the process.
He was a master of it.
Talk about dedication.
Right.
So it's about finding that inner drive.
That inner drive.
That commitment to your craft.
That allows you to persevere even when faced with adversity.
And that's a key element of fearlessness.
It is.
Okay, so respecting the process is one thing.
Okay.
What about the internal game?
Right.
The role of our beliefs and our mindset.
That's crucial.
Yeah, that seems pretty crucial too.
It is. And that takes us to another crucial ingredient in the fearlessness formula.
Okay.
The power of belief.
Ooh, the power of belief.
Yes.
I've always been fascinated by this, but I'm also a little skeptical.
Okay.
Isn't it a bit simplistic to say that just believing in yourself is enough to make things happen?
Well, the book doesn't deny
the
existence of external challenges.
But it emphasizes that our beliefs shape our perception of those challenges. And ultimately our ability to overcome them.
So it's not just about positive thinking. It's about cultivating a belief system that empowers us to take action.
To persevere, to overcome obstacles.
Okay, how do we do that?
Well, it starts with recognizing that our beliefs are not fixed.
Right.
They're malleable.
They
can be shifted and strengthened.
Okay.
The book encourages us to really examine our internal dialogue. Challenge those negative thoughts. And consciously cultivate a more empowering belief system.
So it's like retraining our brains.
Retraining your brain.
Rewiring our thinking.
Yes.
Creating a new mental blueprint for success.
I love that.
All right, so there's one last piece of this fearlessness puzzle that I'm a little hesitant to explore.
What's that?
The book mentions confronting mortality.
Yes.
And that topic kind of makes me a little squeamish.
I understand.
It's not the most comfortable thing to think about.
It's not, but the book presents it in a really insightful and empowering way.
Okay, how does facing our own mortality make us more fearless?
Well, it's about recognizing that our time is limited.
Right.
That we don't have forever to pursue our dreams.
Right.
To experience life to the fullest.
Right.
It's about shedding those petty fears and anxieties that hold us back. And embracing the preciousness of each moment.
So it's like a wake-up call.
A wake-up call.
You know, a reminder that life is short.
Life is short.
So why waste it on fear or hesitation?
Exactly.
Let's go after what we want.
Go for it.
But how do we actually confront mortality?
Well, the book draws on the Stoic philosophy of Seneca. Who emphasized embracing death as a natural part of life. You know, using mental exercises to overcome the fear of it.
Right. Yeah.
And it also highlights this concept of the sublime.
The sublime, what is that?
It's experiencing awe and wonder in the face of vastness and mystery. Whether it's the night sky, a vast ocean, a profound work of art.
I love that.
Yeah, it's about those moments when you feel a sense of wonder. A connection to something bigger than yourself. A glimpse into the infinite.
And those can be powerful antidotes to fear.
They can. Reminding us of the beauty and wonder of existence.
Wow, this has been an incredible deep dive.
It has.
We've journeyed through the 50th law, exploring the connection between fearlessness and success. And we've uncovered some really powerful strategies for cultivating that fearless mindset. From seeing reality clearly to embracing individuality. To turning challenges into opportunities. We've delved into the power of belief, the importance of respecting the process. And even the surprising connection between confronting mortality and living a truly fearless life.
It's all connected.
It is. It's a lot to take in.
It is.
But I feel like I've gained some really valuable insights.
Me too.
Any final thoughts before we wrap up this deep dive?
Well, you know, the 50th law, it's not just a set of rules or strategies. It's a philosophy. It's a way of being in the world. That embraces boldness, resilience, and a relentless pursuit of your goals.
So I guess the question for our listeners, how will you apply the 50th law to your life?
What bold moves will you make?
What dreams will you pursue?
The choice is yours.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this deep dive into the 50th law.
It's been a pleasure.
We hope you enjoyed exploring this fascinating book with us.
I hope so.
And that you gained some valuable insights to apply to your own journey.
Until next time.
Keep diving deep.